Unfortunately, it would appear that COVID-19 is going to be with us not only for this year, but probably well into next year. In fact, until we find a vaccine. And this is having huge effect on arts, entertainment, events, tourism, sport. I was wondering what long-term plans are there to support the sector? Because up until now, and I can understand that in the early phases, it was kind of emergency planning, but we need a long-term plan for all these sectors, including tourism, sport, art, culture and events included in all that, to see how we go forward.
Garv Magat, the tourism, arts, culture and sport are integral parts of the fabric of society, supporting economic activity, physical and societal well-being. The public-facing and audience-driven nature of those sectors means that each time there is an escalation for any county in the level applicable under the Living with COVID plan, those sectors will be hardest hit, and the Government is acutely aware of these challenges. The need for important public health measures such as social distancing has placed necessary limits on gatherings to prohibit public health. This has had a devastating impact, one which the Government and I, as Minister with responsibility for tourism, culture, arts, Gaelic sports and media, has sought to address in a range of ways. Some key measures have been introduced to help support the tourism, arts, culture and sports sectors, including an additional £25 million for the Arts Council, a £5 million live events pilot grant scheme, a £5 million to support the national cultural institutions and nationwide arts infrastructure, the Stay and Spend tax credit initiative, a £26 million adaptation grant for the tourism sector, a £10 million grant for coach tourism, £40 million for the three main field sport bodies, GAA, IRFU and FAI, £15 million resilience fund for sport governing bodies and clubs. The universal income supports of PUP and the wage subsidy scheme have been key to supporting all sectors through this crisis, and the extension of both of these schemes has provided certainty for the coming months. My officials and I are in regular contact with stakeholders and representatives in all of these sectors for which I have responsibility, and I have established a number of sector-specific task force. I will consider the views and recommendations of these task force in the context of Budget 21 and the development of the National Economic Plan, and will review and refine existing supports as required. I intend to continue this collaborative process with stakeholders in order to ensure the sectors remain viable and resilient as we continue to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Minister, we've become expert in this country, if we want to not solve a problem, set up some type of a group, to do a wide remit and wait for the report. While you're waiting for the report, nothing happens. This is a very, very urgent issue. The budget is only a few weeks away. Can you confirm to me that some certainty will be brought to these wide range of sectors in the budget, that there will be provisions made, not just for a month or two, but in the medium term, to ensure the survival of these very, very vital parts of our society? For example, I think anybody in the tourist business will tell you that international tourism is already wiped out for 2021, because we have no certainty how people can enter the country, and there are no bookings. The new tax break that was introduced, that has now collapsed, because with the new restrictions, people are cancelling or not booking. Nobody is availing of that except to go down to their local restaurant if there is one open, and nobody even is doing that at the moment, even in places not locked down. Minister, what's been done has been okay, but we need a much bigger long-term plan.
Thank you, Deputy. And that's exactly why I feel that the task force are key to this, because my engagement with people right across my department's brief is that they want to have a say. So the Arts Task Force, chaired by Claire Dignan, which met for the first time last week. It's due to report October 31st. Obviously, that is post-budget, and that's why in the first meeting that I attended last week, I asked them to give me their key priorities before budget, so that I can use that to feed into my negotiations. In relation to the Tourism Recovery Task Force, that landed on my desk this week, and that is key into the budget negotiations too. But the Government are fully aware that tourism, arts, culture were the first out by the nature of social gatherings element that comes with them, and maybe last back in. So we must find a way to get our performers singing again, to help them, and our 5 million live performance sports scheme assists that. That was a pilot scheme and it's worked really well.
Minister, I'm glad that you have set deadlines for the report of the task force. I regret that it wasn't done in time so that you had all the task force reports, not just a week or two before the budget, but well in advance of the budget, but better late than never. But I still stress the fact that what we're getting are stopgaps, pilot schemes and so on. We need some medium-term planning now. We need some certainty for a sector, or for all these sectors, for sport, events, art. Some of them are largely state-funded, so you have the fund in the kitty. Some aren't. Some are totally commercial, but they're facing absolutely catastrophic situations at the moment. Minister, I look forward with interest to the budget. I hope it delivers, but not sticking plasters. It needs to deliver medium-term planning and medium-term finance to back the planning. Can you assure me that that's going to happen?
Thank you. I can assure you that my department and I are closely engaged with the sectors, and we are, in the context of the budget, very aware of the demands. Waiting for the task force doesn't preclude us from taking immediate measures. So, for example, that live performance scheme was an allocation of 5 million. My department developed the conditions of the scheme in consultation with the sector, with particular assistance from EPIC, and the initial closing date was 24th of August, and by that date over 100 applications had been received requesting funding over 15 million. So the main objective of the scheme is the provision of employment for artists, creative technicians and their support. That's just one element of it, but the task forces will also feed into the National Economic Plan, which will come after the budget, and that feeds into a long-term plan. I would have seen the July stimulus package as part one, then we have the budget, and then we have the National Economic Plan. But I really think the consultation and that ongoing consultation and engagement is key to how we get that roadmap and identifying the supports so that they can come in to feed into the negotiations.